According to Deadline, plans are now moving forward for the upcoming feature The Devil in the White City, which will star Leonardo DiCaprio and will be directed by Martin Scorsese. The film is based on the 2003 novel of the same name and is described like this. Their fates were linked by the magical Chicago World's Fair of 1893, nicknamed the White City for its majestic beauty. Architect Daniel Burnham built it. Serial killer Dr. H.H. Holmes used it to lure victims to his World's Fair hotel, designed for murder. Both men left behind a powerful legacy, one of brilliance and energy, the other of sorrow and darkness. The film will mark the 6th collaboration between DiCaprio and Scorsese. Christian, what do you think of the sounds of The Devil in the White City?
You had me at DiCaprio and Scorsese. I mean, yeah, anything these guys do, I want to see it. And this particular story sounds interesting, and I like that they always switch it up, and I like when Scorsese jumps back into time. You know that he's going to capture the era. He always does. He's one of the most brilliant filmmakers that we've ever seen, and DiCaprio right now is his muse. He's his new De Niro, and they work really well together with The Wolf of Wall Street. Still, I would say it's one of my favorite movies of all time at this point. I love that movie. I loved what they did together, and that was in the 80s. And nice now to go back here and to link up these two guys. I'm wondering which one DiCaprio is going to play. You would assume the guy who builds it.
He's playing the murderer.
Oh, he's playing the murderer?
He's playing the murderer.
Yes. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. That's and do we know yet?
So he's like the Bill the Butcher.
Yeah.
In this one. So
now even more so, because this proves again not only what filmmaker Scorsese is, but what an actor DiCaprio is, has been coming off. We don't know what, to the extent of what his role is going to be in The Revenant. He's obviously the protagonist in that one.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to see him finally, not finally, but to play an antagonist and to go dark. You know, he can do it. We've seen him do it in Django. We've seen him do it in some other movies. So yeah, this is going to be highly anticipated for me once it starts going.
What makes this a better potential than Django is that in Django, he played the bad guy, and we haven't really seen him play the bad guy much at all, and that was really cool to see. But it was a very cool bad guy. It had elements of comedy to him being a bad guy. This is straight up, I'm a butcher. I'm a dude who lures people into these places and I murder them. That is a different level. That's something we haven't really seen him kind of play yet. Look, we are at a point now where there's just no getting around it. If you're going to have a conversation about the greatest actors working in the business today, you have to have Leonardo DiCaprio in that conversation. Where you put him is totally up to you, but he's got to be in that conversation. The fact that Scorsese just is so comfortable with him and keeps wanting to go back to him, that just speaks volume. Now, I'm very curious to find out who they cast in the other role. Because if they get, not the specific name, but if they get a Tom Hardy, for instance, a Tom Hanks, hey, maybe we see a Gangs of New York reunion. We see Daniel Day-Lewis back in there. This suddenly becomes one of my most anticipated films of the next couple of years. Batman, Star Wars notwithstanding, I mean, this is going to shoot right up there. So to me, this is fantastic.
Yeah, and the fact that Scorsese is doing it and he's stepping out of his comfort zone a little bit because he's doing Chicago as opposed to New York.
Right.
I mean, we saw how he's crushed a New York number at times, and then he was doing Boston in The Departed. So to see him do Chicago like this, where it's going to have sort of a mobby kind of feel to it with this evil dude that Leonardo DiCaprio is playing, and you look at the time period, it's in 1893 is when this action takes place, which is just a couple decades before Titanic and Great Gatsby, which are two roles that he really sunk his teeth into. So it's the perfect period piece for DiCaprio and the perfect directing challenge for Martin Scorsese to keep him interested. I can't wait to see what he does with that town in that era. You know what's funny is one of my favorite quotes from DiCaprio about Scorsese from The Wolf of Wall Street was like, how old is Scorsese now? 75 or something? He's in his 70s, and he said, and he's still making punk rock. Like, and that was one of my favorite quotes. And it just shows you watch his films, you don't feel like it's someone who's lost touch. You feel like they are, even in this era, it's going to still feel like this is modern filmmaking, but with that genius touch on it. My favorite Martin Scorsese story, I got to share this one, is, first of all, I don't like to fly. I do fly because I have to fly. I don't like to fly. Dennis doesn't like to fly either. And we get this call, and they want us to fly to New York, Dennis and I to fly to New York to meet with and interview Martin Scorsese for, which anniversary was it for Taxi Driver?
Yeah, but it was like the 25th anniversary or the 30th anniversary. One of those things for this anniversary of Taxi Driver, right? And it's like, man, I don't know. Do I want to fly all the way, even though it's Martin Scorsese, do I want to fly all the way to New York for a 5-hour flight to talk to one guy? Yeah, it's Martin Scorsese. So Dennis and I, off we go to the airport. We fly to New York. It was not a pleasant flight to start with. So we land in New York. I'm already in a bad mood. And as soon as we get to New York, I turn on my phone. It's like, oh, this thing came up and Martin's not available.
Oh.
And me and Dennis were like looking at each other. You've got to effing be kidding me.
Oh, man.
So we still stuck around. We got to go to the Q&A. We got to go to the special anniversary screen of Taxi Driver. A lot of people there. We got to meet and interview actually a lot of very cool people who were there. We didn't realize were going to be there. And we got to see Martin Scorsese, and it was all very cool. But yeah, that was all.
Oh, man.
It's like, what? What?
Glad you didn't heckle him with your plane ticket. Like, Scorsese, I flew 5 hours for you.